The Make America Healthy Again hearings in Washington have revealed that 77% of youth are too metabolically sick for military service. So they're finally acknowledging what we've suspected for years. Looking at our own bodies, we could see what was happening. All the exercise, cutting calories, eating heart healthy grains were not working. That advice was never going to affect the scale because we were being misled. This isn't just about looking cute in our clothes. What we are now learning is that the food we were being encouraged to eat has been impacting our health and longevity in a hugely wrong, bad way. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm a regular person who avoided hip surgery by learning the basics of nutrition and biology. I'm sharing this information for educational purposes so that you can have better conversations with your doctor and actually become a partner in your health and wellness journey so that your life can improve. Since what we want is to feel better and lose weight, we might think that this new government policy solves everything. That's not exactly true. Weight is one of many indicators that we have, right? Another one is brain fog, joint pain, blood pressure. The list goes on and on. Weight is like our body's check engine light, right? But we've been trained over years and years by companies to ignore it. And that's because when we're sick and chasing junk food, we are extremely profitable. So every time we ate the healthy fruit, vegetables, and grains, we were actually causing glycation in our body, which basically means we were causing internal cellular damage, like on that microscopic level, every single day. Damage that we can't see right away. It takes years and years to build up for us to be able to actually see it, whether it's in a blood test or sometimes on our actual skin, we'll start to see rashes. And so the damage takes time to show itself. And this was happening because our body was expecting meat, fish, poultry, and eggs, and we were giving it garbage. So it's like you're deciding to switch the gasoline in your car for maple syrup because of all the energy that's inside of maple syrup, right? Like we know it's full of energy. And that syrup isn't just going to like be a little sticky. It's going to ruin the engine of your car. Like repeatedly filling our bodies with the wrong fuel has made many of us subscribers to the medical industry that thrives on us just being sick and just barely sick enough to keep buying their stupidity, right? But not healthy enough to do anything fun in life. Now, I didn't learn what I'm talking about today in a textbook. I actually learned this when I was sitting in my doctor's office being told that I needed hip surgery 8-ish years ago. I was only 46 at the time, being told that I'm going to need hip surgery. I was 70 pounds overweight. I was in constant pain. And I was actually terrified of surgery. So I don't know if I've talked about this before. I don't want any kind of purposeful cut on me ever. Like, I do not like the idea of opening any part of me that shouldn't be open. So my mouth can open, my nostrils. I don't want anything else opening. So I was terrified, not just scared. And my first thought was that maybe the weight that I was carrying was destroying my joints. So I was wrong. But even if I had been right about the weight that I was carrying destroying my joints, I had tried for years and years and years to lose weight with no success. And guess what happened when I'm sitting in this doctor's office and he's telling me all this information and I'm thinking, well, it has to be the weight. And I went off and tried to lose weight. Nothing. I exercised and I could barely move. So I walked. That's what I did every day. I walked I brought my fat intake down. I was eating all the healthy fruits and I hate fruits. I started eating fruit and grains and vegetables and like less fat on my meat. I was trying to be so good because I'm like, I surgery cannot be happening for me. Not a pound, not 1 pound lost. I didn't lose a thing, which now I understand today because I increased the fruits and vegetables that I was eating. Didn't lose a pound. So thank God that I was wrong and it wasn't actually my weight causing the hip issue because, well, I would have been stuck with this hip. Okay. So in February 2018, in the most desperate state I think I've ever been in my entire life, not being able to sleep because I was in pain. First of all, I swear I couldn't stand. I was in pain. When I sat, like what I'm doing right now, I was in pain. When I laid down, I was in pain. There was no position I was able to be in that I wasn't in pain. And in that state, desperately searching on the internet, I found the Google, I should say, gave me the answer. I was Googling a bunch of stuff. I don't even remember what I Googled that night. I just know I Googled a bunch of stuff. And Google finally showed me something that said that it sounded like I was describing seemed like I had inflamed joints. And that, you know, that was the problem, inflammation. And honestly, I had never heard, like, when I Googled what causes inflammation, I was shocked to learn that sugar was a major contributor to inflammation. Wellness warrior. I spent the age of 23 to 46, that's 23 years, struggling with joint pain. The years of your life where you're supposed to be having the most fun ever. The years of your life that most people say, if I could go back and do anything over again, I would do my 20s. I was in pain all the time. 23 to 46. Not one of the many doctors that I went to ever asked what was I eating or suggested decreasing sugar intake to heal my joint problems. Not once was that ever a conversation. I was referred to physio, sports doctors, chiropractors, very pricey doctors. These were not like in the in the hospital doctors. These were like specialists that I was sent to try to solve this problem. Had to pay. And this is Canada. I had to pay. I wore orthotics in my shoes. Had to buy those. Not covered. None of these medical interventions or products as a matter of fact, the orthotics made my feet hurt even more. It took so long for me to get used to wearing those things in my shoes, first of all. And they were like medical, like I went to the doctor, he form fitted them to correct whatever it was that they were saying was wrong with this, causing my hip pain and joint pain and all the stuff that I was, and they didn't help. They made it worse. I ended up with like a bunion on one of on my right foot. Nothing actually solved the pain that I was living. Lots of money spent. Now, I want to point out that my weight gain, the issues with my weight began when I was in my 30s. That was after my daughter was born. So prior to 30, however old I was when I had my daughter, I was normal weight. I already had metabolic damage because it started when I was 23 before the scale ever moved. After a month and a half of research and validating what sounded like crazy information that I was getting from Google, but everything seemed to point back to carbohydrates are the problem. I started to question from Google, well, how do you, like, I haven't eaten junk food in because I've been eating so clean, really, right? Like I hadn't eaten any junk food in 8 months, not one piece of junk food. So I'm like kind of questioning, like, could this be real? Because I haven't had a chocolate bar, I hadn't had any ice cream, I hadn't had any cookies, no chips, like nothing, no junk in 8 months. And then carbohydrates, like Google reminded me, carbohydrates and sugar, two words for the same stuff. I'm thinking sugar, like junk food. And Google was saying carbohydrates, like all the carbohydrates, the fruits that I brought back, the vegetables that I amped up, the grains that I always had on my plate because I always ate rice, but I didn't remove. All of those things I was figuring out that night were contributing to the sugar. So contributing to the problem that I was living. So now the new conversation with Google is, and this is all before Chat GPT and all this stuff. Like I'm talking the actual, I'm questioning back and forth in Google. Like, well, I'm actually searching, how do you do this? How do you do that? Right? And I figure out that the only way that I can see to take all the sugar out of my diet, and I say all, I find out I don't need to take it all out. I need to get it down to keto numbers. I find some people talking about this keto diet. And if you get your carbohydrate intake down to, well, first I saw 50, but then I found Dr. Westman and understood it's 20 if you have any kind of metabolic issue. Well, what's a metabolic issue? And Dr. Westman helped me to understand that A, if you are overweight, that's a metabolic issue. B, if you have joint pain, metabolic issue. Dr. Fung also helped me to understand this. Those were the two doctors that talked about this specific stuff at the beginning of that when I was looking. If you have skin issues, rashes, in any kind of inflammatory skin something, metabolic issue. Like all of a sudden, I'm looking at this information, realizing my entire family has eczema, inflammatory skin condition. My entire family, like no, not the entire family, but like a good portion of the people in my family are overweight. A good portion of them are having skin issues, eczema, etc. A good portion of them have all kind of internal problems, and that I'm seeing in the list could be inflammation. That information convinced me, but also the fact that I couldn't walk convinced me. So he kind of marrying these two pieces of information together. I was looking at what was coming up for me because remember, in the doctor's office, they told me, yes, hip problem, going to need surgery, going to need surgery. The reason that I was able to work out as much as I could, so do my walking, and I was walking like a crazy person for 8 months on this painful hip, trying to lose weight in desperation not to have the surgery. Why I was able to do that for 8 months is because I was not in poor enough condition to be a candidate for the hip surgery yet. And in my mind, I couldn't even understand that part of the conversation. The pain that I was living, they were saying, well, yeah, probably eventually, but I wasn't there yet. Wow. What was this going to feel like when I would have been there? So this diet that I found that sounded crazy, but at the same time seemed to line up with everything I learned from Google, looked like a possible option. So I tried it. I have nothing to lose here. I was barely able to work. I'm nowhere near retirement age and barely able to work. So you could imagine that I was desperate to find an answer to this. Once I started fueling my body with animal fats and protein, my joints healed. Like it was crazy how fast this all happened. In 3 short months, my joint pain was gone. And I had only lost like 20 pounds. So, I mean, do I think my joints were 100% healed? Obviously not. because every once in a while, if I ran and I took a misstep, or like if I did something that was kind of jarring, I would feel it. But I mean, I was able to run. I was able to go back to tree climbing with the kids and riding bikes and longboarding and all this stuff. We started skateboarding, which was a new-ish thing. I tried it when I was a youngster, but now my kids were old enough to want to try skateboarding, and I was able to try it again with them. I never was good at it when I was younger, and I wasn't good at it when I was older. I stuck to longboarding. I love longboarding. But the point is, my kids longboard with me. I skateboarded with them. We went back to skiing and snowboarding. The year that 8 month period of time when I was doing all the walking and I didn't snowboard or ski for the first time ever in my life. And can I tell you, Wellness Warrior, it was the saddest winter I think I've ever lived since I started like enjoying winter. The first time ever to not go was crushing. And I was able to get back to doing all my activities. It took only 5 months. So from when I started keto, 5 months later, I was at healthy weight, having lost 80 pounds. My body easily let go of the weight, right? And it had carried that weight for 12 plus years, and it easily let go of the weight. And the reason that I'm sharing this with you today is because I realized that my story was not unique. They want us focused on the scale while our biology is screaming for food. And I want you, I want to take a moment to talk about moderation, because that's the thing that they get us looking at the scale with, right? We're so focused on moderation. And moderation walks hand in hand with the nobody's perfect idea. They have these two ideas weaved into every friggin' video and movie and conversation about weight loss. This idea that somehow this garbage stupidity food that they've created in a factory, so processed dumb stuff, that food is okay for us to have in moderation, because well, we have to have fun sometimes, and nobody's perfect, and we're not expecting you to always cook a home cooked meal. Like sometimes you might need some processed food to help you to get through. And Wellness Warrior, it's all garbage. They've convinced us that it's unreasonable to eat healthy all the time because everybody wants to have fun. That is a garbage stupidity statement. Out of curiosity, just so I'm sure about this, Wellness Warrior, do you struggle not to put sugar or syrup in your gas tank? Is that something that you have to hold back from doing and say, oh, I shouldn't put this in my gas tank? Of course not, right? Until I said it today, you never even thought about it. Do any of us find it fun when our clothes don't fit and our joints hurt or the skin rashes our back? Not likely. Most of us look at that and we are frustrated, sad, embarrassed, annoyed, blaming ourselves because, of course, they blame us for it. We don't have a problem with these things not being around. The truth is, they need us to be moderate and believe that food is meant to be fun, so they continue to get us to eat these problematic foods that release dopamine, spike insulin, and cause cravings, leaving us completely out of control around the stupid garbage that they've got us thinking is food. It is not food. When they go into their labs and put the perfect combination of salt, sugar, and fat together so that when we touch this stupidity, we can't stop eating it. Not only does our insulin keep us in fat storage mode because of the, right? Insulin is going off because of how much sugar is in that stupidity. The cravings that happen from the dopamine spike ensure that we overeat carbohydrates, right? So that we max out our internal damage. Understand what that means. they feed us dumb stuff, right? Ridiculous. Like, this stuff is supposed to help me to make a better, healthier supper. Pasta that's got all kinds of chemicals on it for flavorings is supposed to make me a faster time in the kitchen so that I'm eating faster, but I'm damaging the internals of my body. The thing that allows me to live my life, I'm damaging it. Wellness Warrior, we need to understand that this is a game that we cannot win. Even keto snacks trigger our cravings because sweet taste triggered the same pathways in our brain. That dopamine center in our brain gets triggered, and insulin is still spiked because we tasted something sweet. Our brain is part of the system that tells our body, hey, we need insulin, right? We taste it in our mouth. It hasn't even reached our system yet. Our insulin starts to rise when we taste it. It hasn't been broken down and into our system yet, Wellness Warrior. We need to understand that they understand all of this. So companies that make this garbage processed nonsense understand all of this. When those cravings kick in and we end up eating too many keto snacks, or worse, we end up eating the real junk food, our body continues to struggle. And then we are stuck. And what I actually figured out from my situation was that a healthy body regulates its weight, right? With proper nutrition, our body actually repairs and rebuilds us immediately. Like, it happened. I was able to run around and move around actually, Pat and I went through some of the pictures from our vacation and before our vacation. And what I realized is that although Pat asked me the question of like, how's your hip feeling on vacation? Because we were doing a bunch of stuff and he was worried, like, were we pushing it too much? And I was like, I feel amazing. Had completely forgotten why I started keto. But I was looking back at pictures before we left on vacation, and we were at the water where we like run around and do crazy stuff a month before. 2 months into my keto diet, like, so not even 20 pounds lost, and my hip was already feeling better. Your body will rebuild and help you, and it will focus on what's the most important when it has the right things to rebuild. So why was my hip and my joints the most important? Because I thought about this and thought about this. Like, you would think it would leave me writhing in pain while it did my heart and my other things. And you know what it came to me? I thought about this. Like, our body doesn't realize that we have food in the fridge and that we can have food whenever we want. Our body doesn't realize that we live in houses and that the lions can't get us anymore. The most important thing for our body to be able to do is run. Run to catch an animal, because I need to eat meat, fish, poultry, eggs. Run away from the animal that sees me as meat. Carbohydrates play a big role in the process of our body being able to heal itself. Our body does not need any carbohydrates. So sugar, our body does not need us to eat those things. When it sends us out for food, that is never what it was asking for. Why does it start asking for it? Oh, because companies have that perfect mix of salt, sugar, and fat that has tricked us into eating dopamine triggering stuff, right? And now we are chasing the stupidity. But when we eat carbohydrates, our body ends up wasting time and energy putting the carbohydrates in storage and then neutralizing them, right? So that they can't can't hurt us anymore, because excessive amounts of carbohydrates are harmful. Excessive amounts of carbohydrates are harmful. Can't say that enough. What is an excessive amount of carbohydrates? If we eat them, Wellness Warrior, that is an excessive amount of carbohydrates because, as I just said, our body makes all the carbohydrates that we need. But even more importantly, our bodies are designed to run on ketones. Dr. Bickman pointed that out. He was talking about how babies come into the world in a state of ketosis. That's their natural state. They drink breast milk and it excites that even more, and they are in the state of ketosis. And they are in that state of ketosis until when? Until we put them on solid food. Yeah. Because what do we put them on? We don't give them meat. We don't give them fish and animal protein stuff. What do we give them? We start them on oatmeal. And then we give them baby banana as the second thing, or at least here in Canada. That is what we are told to give our kids first. Not meat, fish, poultry, eggs with the necessary salt that they should be getting. We start them on foolishness. So our bodies are supposed to be ketone first, carbohydrates as a secondary source of energy. Right? Those fast sprints that we need to do to get away from the line? Yeah, for sure. The fast sprints to go catch the animal? Yeah, for sure. Ketones for a lot of the other stuff. Carbohydrates are great for signaling and all kinds of stuff. Yes, our body does use it for other things, but we don't need to eat them. Eating sugar flips our body upside down by releasing insulin, which forces our body to metabolize carbohydrates on repeat and store fat that we can't access. So the very thing that our body wants to be running on, we store it in a way that we can't access it. Well, we store it in a way that we possibly could access it, but we can't get access to it because we are eating so much carbohydrate on repeat. Body can't get access to it. Really, it's like working really hard all summer to chop firewood for the winter and then storing the wood in the lake. As long as those carbs, like our intake of carbohydrates stays too high, insulin ensures that we have no access to that energy. But when we lower it, the carbohydrate intake, when we lower it down, that's when everything changes. We put those logs out in the sun, and that means by winter, the house can stay nice and toasty warm. So protein and fat allow insulin to return to baseline. Right? So our insulin comes back down to where it's supposed to be, and all our hormones get to regulate. And our body is then able to get back to normal processing, Wellness Warrior. That's what your body wants to do, be back to normal processing. It wants to correct the issues caused by years and years of overeating sugar, of overeating processed, dumb stuff. It wants to correct all of that stuff and get back to what it's been meant to do. And it starts, like, our getting our body back to that place starts with one simple action that you all have the ability to do. It's simple. Our bodies want animal protein and fat. So that's exactly what we give ourselves, animal protein and fat. At every single meal, breakfast, lunch, or supper, doesn't matter what you're eating, at every single meal, the first bite that we eat, animal protein or fat. It can be bacon, steak, eggs. If you want, you can even have a spoonful of butter. It doesn't matter what that first bite is, it needs to be animal protein and fat. Why? We're signaling to our brain that real food is coming in. We want our body to know what we are doing, and we want to be doing what our body wants us to be doing. For years, I've encouraged every wellness warrior that I could talk to that we eat protein to carb. Finish the protein on your plate before you finish the carbohydrate. Make sure that this protein is gone. I'm taking it a step further. The first bite that you put in your mouth should be protein with the accompanying fat, or just the fat. Start with the fat. A piece of fat, chew it up. That is important. And it's never mattered more than it matters right now, because protein and fat are so satiating that when you start this way, you're signaling to your brain and to your body, real food coming in, and you're quieting those hunger signals. So the hunger hormones, right? So ghrelin, you're quieting them by the end of the meal. Because we start with the body wants, and we're making sure that that is mostly what we get in, like we get as much of that in as we can before we get through those carbs. We are telling our body, this is real food, right? And honestly, I think that for most of us, what will end up happening is we'll start to see the reality of what our body wants. Because if we do this well, if we have the right amount of protein with its accompanying fat on our plate, we will be we won't be able to get all of this in. By the time we get through this, we'll be feeling like, whoa, I've had enough. And the garbage, which is only on your plate for entertainment, by the way, it's only on your plate because it makes this stuff seem appealing. That's why they want us eating it. By the time we get through the meat with the accompanying fat, the fish with the accompanying fat, the poultry with the accompanying, by the time we eat the real animal protein, we probably we'll be satiated. Remember, on a keto diet, we're not trying to eat till we're full. We're trying to eat till we're satiated. And when Dr. Westman said that to me, well, said that in the video that I watched, I was like, that's amazing. And I don't do that. We have been taught to eat till we're busting. And because we eat till we're busting, we finish the carbohydrates. And what is our body doing now? All those carbohydrates that came in, fat storage. And you know what Dr. Fung helped me to understand? When our body is putting carbohydrates in storage, it's not just putting carbohydrates in storage. It's putting whatever you ate in storage. I read a chapter in a biology textbook on the internet when I was learning all this information. And one of the things that the chapter was talking about digestion pointed out was that when we eat carbohydrates, so eat plant matter, because our body can only handle 20 grams of carbs, but especially that our body can only handle 5 grams of fructose per day. When vegetation comes in, our body is swiftly, so our stomach swiftly passes all of that through. It tries to just, so this another thing that they tell us, oh, fiber helps us to go to the bathroom. No, our body can sense that carbohydrates came in and it passes it through because we don't need them. We make them. But what happens when we pass all that through? We're also passing out the meat, fish, poultry that we ate with the stupid garbage that we ate. So not only is our body storing what energy does come in through that does get digested because it's putting stuff in fat storage, as Dr. Fung helped me to understand. But then our body's passing through as fast as it can because of the sugar, not the fiber, the rest of the nutrients that we don't even get a chance to hold on to them. Wellness warrior. Frustrating. It's so frustrating. So by eating meat, fish, poultry, and eggs first, we allow our body to signal us that we are full and we're less likely to eat the garbage on our plate. And I don't know about you, but I remember as a young child, always I loved my meat. It was my most favorite thing. Now, because we lived in a household where you must finish your plate, I always left it till the end because I hated vegetables. And so I wanted to finish with a good taste in my mouth. And I mean, it just goes back to what did I go after on my plate when I was young? The meat. What did I go after on my plate when I was older, after I've been trained to eat stupidity? The garbage. And the worst part, I was now an adult. I don't have to eat the vegetables, so I'm having grains and meat. Potatoes and starchy vegetables and meat. So am I getting anything? Again, I was 80 pounds overweight, wellness warrior. I was obese. There's a reason for that. So by just switching this around, it helps us to see the impact that carbs actually have on our appetite. And it helps us to see that we can actually quiet the food noise that's in our heads, right? Like we can actually eat in a way that we are prioritizing our health. Imagine imagine waking up 3 weeks from now, a month from now, 2 months from now, and when you swing your legs over like off your bed, right? Your knees aren't stiff. Your hip isn't sore, right? What about being able to get through the entire day without needing a nap? What about remembering where your keys are? All things that we, like when we would have these problems, we blamed on our old age. We blamed on our weight. And I've noticed they don't happen to me anymore. Like I know where I put my stuff. I I have energy. I'm up at 8 a.m. for the first time in my entire life, and I'm still going strong at midnight. Like I I have energy. But I will tell you that the best win for me, Wellness Warrior, is when I walk past chocolate and I don't care. Like, when you go through, like in Canada, we have these stores that are just dedicated to chocolate. And in our mall, like there was a few of them. And I remember I used to walk past these stores and I could never get past it without going in and buying something, right? And a lot of the time, these stores were expensive as heck. In the grocery store, I couldn't get through the aisle to pay without picking up something. It didn't matter. Pharmacy, chocolate bar aisle. Like it didn't matter what kind of store I was in. Chocolate called my name. And now I don't care. I actually don't care. I could have chocolate right in front of me. Don't care. I do have chocolate right in front of me, as I showed you a few seconds ago. These are props now. Don't care. My energy is steady all day long. Whether I have lunch or not, I have energy that's steady all day long. When we eat healthy, meat, fish, poultry, and eggs with the accompanying salt that we need, when we eat that way, weight loss happens quietly in the background while we're busy living our actual lives. This is the power of our body getting the nutrient dense food that it's been waiting for, has been asking for since babyhood. It's been wanting nutrient dense, healthy food. If we remember one thing from this video today, Wellness Warrior, let it be that the scale is a reflection of your internal environment. Rather than fight the number on the scale, understand what it's telling us, right? It's trying to give you information. Our body put the carbs and toxins in fat storage and sent us up back out for food. But what we do is we turn around and we bring back more sugar and toxins, more fun garbage stuff, more silly processed nonsense. The solution is to prioritize satiety by eating meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and the accompanying salt that it needs, and then trusting that our body will do what it does, right? It's going to use that real food to bring us back to our natural state of health and fat burning, like metabolism that we were supposed to have the entire time. Protein and fat is the first thing that you're going to eat at every meal going forward, no matter what. And you're going to see what I'm talking about because that is the solution, Wellness Warrior. Now, while the firewood is drying out and we're shifting to into ketogenic state over the next, whether it's few days for you or a few weeks, we need to address the mental programming that the heart healthy lie left behind. So I want you to take a look at the video that I have linked in the description because it's going to help you to get your power back. And you're going to want to watch the video, Silencing the Food Noise. It's linked below, and you're going to be able to do what I'm talking about today. So check out that video after we go through the comments. So I hope that I have some great questions here, and I really hope that that this video was helpful to everyone. Let me just adjust myself here a little bit, and let's get started Wellness Warriors, hello. I'm glad to see some people in here. Put your questions now. I'm going to answer every comment. We've only been going for 40 minutes, so I have lots of time. And let us begin. So that was mine saying hello to everybody. And Maccabees, I hope I said that right, from SoCal. Hello from SoCal. South California? I'm assuming that's South California. Hello, nice to have you here. Hey, Elizabeth, nice that you were able to catch one. I'm glad to see you here. Um, Bride Biscuit says, good morning to all. Perfect. Maximil, yeah, oh my God. Maxima Limus? I hope I'm saying that right. Hi, Violet. Greetings from Amsterdam and have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. Hey, Pat. Nice to see you here. Hello, Violet. I like what you're doing. Thank you, Steve Law 2000. I'm always happy to know that people are appreciative of the videos I put out and the work that I'm trying to do. Okay, Joseph says, you honestly look in your 30s. I hope Moore, watching realize what we lose with sick, sad diet. Oh, I hope more watching realize what we with sick, sad diet and our ignorance of eating just whole foods. Thanks, young lady. Um, so I definitely hope that more people will see the videos and understand the benefit of eating healthy food. Um, whole foods are important to eat, especially if you're doing a keto diet. I want to say whole, low carbohydrate foods. I think that one of the hard things, for me anyways, was things like potatoes. Potatoes are so tricky because, first of all, they break down so easily in our system. So potatoes, squash, sweet potatoes, like all the starches break down so easily into sugars that our body can put in fat storage. And I feel like all too often they are great tasting, especially when you make like chips out of them or like there's just so many ways to eat potatoes that isn't helping us. So I know for myself, like removing potatoes was one of the first and best things I did. Now, the other thing I learned was that my joints were reacting to the toxin in potatoes. So the solanine, because those are nightshade vegetables. So my body was reacting. One of the things that I learned that shocked me, was that potatoes that have green spots on them, that greenness is actually highly toxic. So how many times was I at restaurants eating French fries? And you get a French fry that still had a little bit of green on it, and you ate it just because you don't know. I did not know that that was actually toxic. It doesn't surprise me that my joints were inflamed because apparently joint inflammation is one of the negatives from eating solanine. So, like, there's just so many things that they know, but then we are not made fully aware of. Like, even if just the regular public knew that if you see green on a potato, you should, well, I mean, I probably just wouldn't eat the potato altogether because it means it didn't ripen all the way. No, Sally Norton helped me to understand that we pick things early so that they won't spoil by the time they reach the person who's going to eat it. And so therefore, we are eating things that have extra amount of toxins in them. It is so important for us to understand that 70, 80, 1,000 years ago, the vegetation that we were eating was not what we're eating today. Because we were eating things on site, first of all, if you go back 1,000 years ago, right, we were eating things that were available to us in that moment. So it grew, we picked it, we ate it. We were letting things ripen properly, at least much more properly than we do today for sure. But then with the invention of refrigeration, with the invention of um, uh, like traveling refrigeration, where we put things on refrigerated boats and trucks and then send them across the world. We need those things to stay ripe longer or to stay fresh longer. But what we don't realize is that the toxins that the plant uses to stop the bugs from eating it are in higher concentrations when it's not ripe yet. The plant detoxifies the fruit for the animal. It wants to eat it, according to what Sally Norton helped me to understand. And so the part that's kind of silly, first of all, we are eating stuff that we're not supposed to eat. It was never meant for us. Our body's looking for meat, fish, poultry, eggs. But second of all, there's more toxins in it because we're picking it too soon. And worst of all, genetically modified plants are like they're bred to be more resistant to bugs. What does that mean? It means that there's more toxins staying in the fruit, right? So there's more so that the bugs won't eat it. But then if we pick it early, so we've maxed out the amount of toxin to stop the bugs from eating it. But then we pick it early, so we've also maxed out the amount of toxin for us. So like there's so many silly things that I see that we do in this world that like don't make any sense for our good health. And then they're going to blame our genetics on why we're sick. So if it was my genetics that I had all the joint issues that I was having, wouldn't it mean that as I get older and I'm still the same genetic composition, I should still have these joint pains? And yet I feel amazing today. Wouldn't it mean that all the skin issues that my entire family has, that I used to, that was budding on me, like the open wounds that I had, shouldn't they still be there? They're not there. So what is it telling us? It's not true. This is not about my genetics. This is about the stupid foods that I was encouraged to eat that my body never wanted. Hi, I am from India. Hello, Putam Screen. I'm not going to be able to say that name, but hello, how are you doing? I am keto over 5 years. I am 73 and function like I'm 50. Ooh, that's nice. Feel good 9 out of 10. Date. Okay, that's great. Play with grandkids, running the yard with 2 to 7 year olds. You know what? That's what I think the other thing that I find super amazing is that my body feels amazing. I have no problem like running around, enjoying my life, just doing fun things. And yeah, it's great to be able to play like well my I don't have grandkids yet. My daughter is only 21, but my niece is like 2, not even 2, she's 1.5. Running around with her, like I have nieces and nephews that are still young. My brother's children have children and I run around with those guys. um and it's just amazing to be able not only to keep up but to take them to do things that my family wouldn't take them to do, like taking the kids to the water park or taking the kids, not that they wouldn't take them to do, but like they're not as enthusiastic about it as I am. So like taking them to the water park or taking them to climbing, to take them bouldering that we like to do. Haven't taken them tree to tree climbing because that's a bit more risky and parents are scared. But I think that being able to do this with them is just crazy good. And it makes me feel good. Like that's the reason that we have kids, right? To do fun things with them. And then hopefully we get our grandkids and we can do fun things with them. And like I'm happy to know that if my daughter ever has kids or the boys ever have kids, or even my nieces and nephews, if they want to go try skiing or snowboarding, that I can actually go with them. That is amazing. And I look forward to it I hope at some point they ask me to go because that would be wicked. You are a smart lady. You stuck with it and reinvented yourself. Thank you very much. You know what? I didn't have a choice but to stick with it because, like I said, mortified of surgery. Like I don't, and especially I'll tell you now that I've learned what I've learned about the medical industry that we're in, I want to keep my body as good as I possibly can keep it because I don't trust. I don't trust, like, they do not believe that our body can heal itself, even though everything says with the right food, our body can heal itself. They keep us stuck in scenarios where we are taking medication rather than focusing on eating the right things. And Dr. Eid has this research that they did with Dr. Danon, I believe it was, and I'm just like a bunch of doctors that were involved in that, showing that mental health could be not just improved, but some people completely got off their medication by eating a keto diet, not even carnivore. Can you imagine what these would have happened for these families and these people had they eaten real, actually just really what our body asked for? Just meat, fish, poultry, egg, salt? Can you imagine what would have happened? But just doing keto, they were able to get their body back to, so get their brain back to a healthy state. Your brain is part of your body. And we need to understand that. It's not just about obesity. It's not just about the look of us. Your brain is part of your body. You can't make good decisions if your brain is full of plaquing and is producing the wrong neurochemistry and like everything is wrong. It cannot. And we need to understand that. We're so focused on what we look like because that is what they want us looking at. And it's not what's going to help us to be healthy. Russell Nichols says yes. Let's see. Sing it. Hello, sing it. Nice to have you here. Not sure if you remember. You're always being physically active. Okay. Carbs are supposed to help workouts, muscle absorption. Are you more energized in carnivore as opposed to keto workouts? I will say that I have more energy now than I had before, but I don't know if it's that much more. So, and the reason I say I have more now, especially now, is because of all the carbs that I've taken out. So, when I was doing a keto diet, and I understood from Dr. Chafee, Sally Norton, and Dr. Eid, those are 3 back-to-back interviews that I did. Chafee was first, Eid was second, and I think Norton was third, if I remember correctly, the order. When I did those 3 interviews, they helped me to understand that the toxins in the vegetation are having some kind of impact. Dr. Eid specifically said it. As with medication, even with food, she pointed out that we might eat something or take something because we think it's going to have this specific impact on our health, but there's other stuff in there. And our body doesn't discriminate. It's not like our body is taking it and saying, oh, this is for Violet's arm or her hand, and that's the only place. No, it's going throughout my body. So even though it might help the problem that's going on with my hand, my entire body is being impacted by it. And so that conversation helped me to really see that I need to be careful with what I'm intaking, and all of these things, which I learned from I learned from Sally Norton and Dr. Chafee, actually, he did say it too, that all of the toxins in the food that I am eating are going throughout my body and doing stuff. Right? What's happening with it? So like, even though we think this is healthy stuff, and even though it might be healthier than processed silliness, like all this stupidity that I have on my desk, right? Or even these things, like these protein bars that are supposed to be healthy for us to have, but they're not healthier than meat, fish, poultry, and eggs. They cannot be. Because meat, fish, poultry, and eggs is what our body... So the carbohydrates were always there. And I need to be sure that I point that out. The carbohydrates were always there. Our body was never in a deficit of carbohydrates. I was always able to do whatever activities or working out that I was doing. So for clarity, when I was doing keto, I was not working out, like working out. I was doing longboarding, cycling, rollerblading, skiing, snowboarding, scooters, riding, like I was my push scooter. I was doing activities, right? Fooling around with the kids on the skateboard. Like we were doing activities, bouldering, tree climbing. Like we like going to do things. I wasn't working out with like exercise working out. Now I started working out. Why did I start working out? All of a sudden, and I'm going to talk about this in a video that's coming up, but I was I put down coffee, had the inkling. That's the way I would word it. Like it, all of a sudden, jumping became more interesting to me. It was weird. Like just putting coffee down, I started to actively wake up thinking about jumping. Now, that doesn't make a lot of logical sense to me, but yet it's exactly what happened. I started waking up wanting to jump. And then eventually, I was looking at my gym equipment, which is beside where I jump, and I was saying, I just started having the thought of I need to clear that up so I can use it. Wellness Warrior, these are not thoughts that I have ever had before. I bought the gym equipment because winter would come around and I wasn't able to do as much as I do in the summer. That was the reason for buying the gym equipment. Even though I own the gym equipment, even though the gym equipment sits there and I see it all the time, I was not using that gym equipment the way that I should have been using that gym equipment. Right? Like I in the years that I owned it, when I first got it, maybe I used it for 3, 4 months. And then after that, sporadically, I would use it maybe if I gave myself 10 times a year since I owned that equipment that I used it, that's really, really generous of me. But I'll add to that in the last 3 years, 18, 19, 20, in the last 3 years, because my daughter cleared off the gym equipment when she had her 18th birthday party. Everything was cleaned up down there. I was able to get to it and use it. Did I use it once? No, I did not. And then I didn't use it once during that entire 3 years. She turned 21 this year and she cleaned it off again. And now I'm using it. But I quit coffee in the like just around the same time she cleaned it off. And I'm using it. Wellness Warrior, I cannot even explain why my attitude about working out has shifted from putting coffee down. I don't understand it fully, but I have a lot to say about how my life has changed since I put coffee down that I will be making a video about because it's crazy because things have changed. I hope that answers your question, Sing It. But like, I do feel that somehow I have energy for working out that I never had before. I have interest in working out that I never had before. I understand this thing about my body should, like, I feel like there's just this kind of clarity that my body wants to move. Like that's kind of the way I would, like, I feel like I want to move. Like Pat and I yesterday went, not yesterday, today we're Monday. Saturday went and did some blacksmithing. And honestly, I thought I was going to be ridiculously sore the next day. My shoulder blades from swinging the sledgehammer, like there was a big sledgehammer that I had to swing to do part of the work. But the normal hammer stuff, I was fine. Like, I mean, I do swing a hammer with some of the activities that I do at home, so that's not a big deal. But the normal hammering stuff, I was fine. Yeah, if it wasn't for the sledgehammer stuff, I think I probably would have been much better. but but yeah, that was cool, and like we had fun doing that. And I mean, we got a nice little hook out of it that looks really cool. So like I feel like these are things that are in my mind, like doing these kind of activities. Pat actually registered for us for a different one. Like I registered us for this one, but he registered us for glass blowing and all kinds of, again, it was like intense. And but these are the kind, like, we want to do stuff. This is what happens when we get healthy. Like we just want to do stuff. We want to move. We want to use our bodies. Like, so I hope that helps. Sing It. I'm not sure if I'm answering that question the best way that I could, but Bride Biscuit, I still crave it. 14 months carnivore, healed many things, but didn't change that issue. So, you know what I would suggest for you to think about? Are there things that you are currently eating that are still sweet? That's the first thing I'm gonna. And when I say sweet, people think sweet like taste sweet, and it could be that. It could be that. but it could also be just high enough in carbohydrate to keep my dopamine system chasing. Or high enough in casomorphin to keep my dopamine system chasing. So I would put your attention on, because you're carnivore, it could be spices, but if because you're carnivore, it could also be dairy. Like dairy can keep us chasing because of the casomorphin, and I didn't know that until I watched the Netflix special that I watched. I have a video about that on the channel. But also when I talked to Dr. Eid, she pointed it out that a lot of people are chasing because of the dairy that they keep in their diet without realizing that dairy is keeping them chasing. And I'll tell you that since I put dairy down, I'm again like the changes to my life. I didn't think that they would be gigantic, but I did see that dairy had my brain chasing. And it was interesting because it all I was chasing was dairy, right? But then when I took the dairy out, oh my goodness, like the craziness that ensued and like the behavior that went out of control. And again, I have a video on the channel you can go watch about that. But I hadn't even realized that I was still craving, I was still chasing. I picked it up on it when it was the nuts. I saw that clearly. But I think it's because nuts are vegetation and I'm very sensitive and I'm focusing and I'm paying attention when it's vegetation. It completely got past me when it was the heavy cream that I was putting in my coffee. That little bit, that 45 grams, but it's twice a day, right? But I was having two coffees. And I started off having one coffee, by the way. So it even went up and it didn't click to me that something's wrong. But that 45 grams of heavy cream that I was having twice a day, every day, was enough to keep my brain on that hamster wheel. And as soon as I took it out of my diet, thinking, oh, this shouldn't be too hard, but I just want to, I'm so happy I did it this way too. I wanted to be sure that whatever changes came from putting down coffee wasn't related to letting go of dairy. And that's why I let go of dairy first. So I didn't just let go of heavy cream, all cheese, all everything. I let go of everything. Because again, Dr. Eid pointed out, we need not have these things. Dairy is supposed to grow a baby cow. Cows are much bigger than us. Why would we want to take something in that's supposed to make us big? And so because she said that, I wanted to verify, was the dairy doing, and it was, the dairy was actually doing something, right? And it makes sense, right? You want that baby cow to drink and drink and drink enough until it can be big as it needs to be, right? Until eventually it will wean because it starts eating grass and other things. And maybe because mom will get fed up of feeding it. I don't really know how that works for cows, but we know at some point it will stop drinking milk. And I'm happy I did it the way that I did it. So I hope that that helps you, Bride's Biscuit, because I think that sometimes we just don't realize that we're still ingesting something. You know, sometimes we're doing stuff like, where is it? Like these things, these keto friendly things that I know that they have some carnivore snacks. You know, they're meat products, but those things are cured with sugar. So even if you think that like, you have to look at the ingredients of everything you're doing and verify where might the potential problem be coming from. But if you're still, now, one last thing I'll say, if you're still 14 months in and none of the things that I'm saying are there for you, like none of them, you don't go to, seed oils as another problematic one. Seed oils, like they are problematic for us and they can cause all kinds of problems. And I'm wondering, like, if your body is still struggling, right, with seed oils, could that potentially be part of what's making your mind not adjust when it needs to? But the other thing I'll say is that, is there a conversation that you're having with yourself that allows you to think like, I should be able to have processed stupidity? If that's what you're telling yourself, you're going to stay stuck there, right? Because the truth is, this processed stuff is not healthy. It was never something we were supposed to eat. So I hope that helps. Hello, Eva Martinez. Nice to meet you. Don't think I've read that name before. How do I make sure that my body is absorbing the protein? I'm asking, of course, I'm experiencing hair loss. So I heard that it could be my cause. It could be because my body is not getting is getting rid of protein because I heard, okay, protein helps with hair loss. So, Eva, what I would say is that because now you're talking about alopecia and you're talking and yes, alopecia can have a physical component, but a lot of the times there's also a psychological anxiety component as well. The way that you make sure that the physical component isn't there is by eating real food. First of all, like I would, in your scenario, if it was me, there's no way that I would eat anything processed ever. Like I'd be done with that. My like I can tell you that I had some hair dropping problems when my dog passed away uh, a few years ago. It was actually a year ago when my dog passed away. Um, I was so distraught of the situation that happened, and it happened over Christmas. It was just like it was an emotional blow, and my hair started to drop. And as you can see, my hair has grown back, and it's like perfectly back now. And so there is a psychological component. The more stressed, the more scared, the more frustrated we are, our body is going to struggle. And what we know is that our body prioritizes healing internal before external. Is part of the reason that my skin issues and loose skin issues and all the things that I had didn't heal as quickly as my joints, because I need to be able to run away or to chase, and didn't heal as quickly as my internal organs did, right? So like my body focused on what was the most important. My brain, I think so much more clearly. I have so much better endurance in terms of running up and down the stairs and like climbing several floors at a time without having to take a break. I was at my office building, sometimes the elevator's not working, and I can do it so easily now, where when I was eating garbage, I had to take a break to get up the stairs. All that to say that the major thing that will stop us from being able to absorb protein is eating carbohydrates. So, eating carbohydrates comes in multiple forms. I might be having a nice large portion of protein, but then I have a side dish of insert whatever vegetation you want here. That vegetation will impact my body's ability to absorb this protein source. Because why? Because when it hits my stomach, my body realizes, so my stomach realizes, oh, there's carbohydrates in there, it will more swiftly try to pass it through than if I had only eaten the meat, right? If I hadn't eaten that vegetation, my body would take its time, process that protein, and I get to keep it all. And so therefore my body can repair itself. The second way that we can eat carbohydrates is that we have a beautiful piece of meat. Now there's no vegetation on the plate now. We just have a beautiful piece of meat, fish, poultry, right? Or a nice plate of eggs. But then we put all kinds of spices all over it. Whether you're putting plant spices, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about salt. Salt your food. Your body's looking for salt. But when you're putting paprika or like any basil, any of these spices that we're putting on our food equals carbohydrates just came in, and my body's going to notice them. Why? Because our body doesn't need us to eat any carbohydrates. None. Zero. Nada. We don't need any. So when you eat plant matter, you are telling your body to push along this whatever protein, you push it out. Even if you eat nuts a few hours later, was your body finished processing? No. It's going to push it out. So this is where it gets really tricky for a lot of people, because we want to be able to moderate, right? Because, nobody's perfect, and we want to have fun with our food. All the stuff that we are told, that's not true. It's just not true. We do not need to be moderate. Eat what your body wants so that you can live the life that you want to live in this body. The healthier your body is, the more fun you're going to have. Trust me. When I was not able to go snowboarding that year, it wasn't just about missing out on snowboarding. I wasn't able to walk. I wasn't able to sit. I wasn't able to lay down, which means sleeping was insane. I would fall asleep for maybe like an hour or two because I was exhausted, and then wake up and then fall back to sleep. I slept more in the daytime than ever in my entire life while that was going on because I couldn't even stay awake. I was so tired all the time. It's not fun when you don't feel good. Bride's Biscuits says they used to say type 2 diabetes is progressive, but I reversed it under carnivore. Yeah, they definitely thought that type 2 diabetes couldn't be solved, but that was based on the medical model that says that we need to eat fruits and vegetables, right? This lie that got into the medical model. When Pat had his medical scenario, when we were at the hospital, there was actually a food pyramid on the wall talking about how much fruits and vegetables that we need to eat. Like when I say that it's in the medical system, it's in the medical system. And it's ridiculous. We do not need any carbohydrates. Like this has been known about our bodies for years. Our body makes all the carbohydrates. Like we've known this. So, yeah, it's absolutely reversible if you eat real food for human beings. If you eat the food that we're supposed to eat, no problem. Your body will help itself. So Eva Martinez says, I have been carnivore going on 3 years. Okay. My encouragement to you, Eva, is A, verify that there aren't any poor quality seed oils coming in. B, look at spices that you're using, because if you are using spices, those are carbohydrates coming in. And then of course, C, trust your body. The more that I fight with myself and I'm in my head and I'm anxious and I'm doing all the like I was carnivore when my hair fell out because I was that distraught about my dog. I was my daughter and I had that dog for years, like 16. I want to say, like, how old was she? Yeah, like 16, would have been 17 years. So like we were not happy people. Like that was one, I would probably say the hardest Christmas. Yeah, it was the hardest Christmas I think I'd ever had. Ever. Like I've never, and I had a Christmas where I had the flu and was puking through the entire Christmas. And my dog's passing was worse than that Christmas. He passed on Christmas morning, like in the like going into like the 23rd to the 24th, sorry, the 24th to the 25th morning. Like Christmas morning is when he left us at 2 something in the morning. So like that, yes, of course my hair fell. Like I was not doing well. I was not doing well. I mean, I'll probably be bald when my parents leave. If that tells me anything, because I did not do well. So it happens, but my hair came back, right? My emotions regulated. You can see I can talk about it now without crying. It used to be every time it came up, I was in tears. So I can talk about it now without crying. Um, I do think that my little friend here who's taking a bath, my little cat, did help me to kind of move on as well. And I would have had him when Graham was around, but we learned that he was sick when I was thinking about getting the cat. And so I held off on getting the cat because I wanted to give all my attention to my dog. So yeah, these are important things. And we need to look at all the different angles of why something can be impacting us. I hope that helps. Rahal Yadav, I hope I said that right. I used to get migraines once or twice a week. After carnivore, it almost gone without making other changes, which doctors insist upon, like sleep early, reduce screen time. Yeah, so definitely the way that our brain functions is going to be highly, highly impacted by the foods we eat. So I completely believe you that changing your diet, if would help your brain to repair anything it needed to repair, because now it has the right um, building blocks to build and repair.
and you're going to feel better. And I can tell you too, Rahul, I used to have migraines, and when I went keto, my migraines went away. I like honestly, I think the last migraine I had was when I gave up coffee. That was like and it was like, so in between going keto and carnivore, only times that I've ever had migraines was like when I missed coffee, like so I hadn't had coffee for whatever reason, got a migraine, or this last time when I gave up coffee. So totally, I'm right there with you. And does reducing screen time, is it a good thing to do? Yeah, it's still a good thing to do. But is it the be all and end all? The first thing that we need to do when our health is in jeopardy is look at what we're eating. And if we think about it, going back to my pet scenario, for both the cat and the dog, every time I went to the vet, the first thing they asked me always, what are you feeding the cat? What are you feeding the dog? It's the first question, always. All right. Why? Because they need to make sure that I'm making good choices for my animal. So, yeah, um, I think that as long as you eat the right things, you're gonna do well. It heals so much. I went off 7 mental health meds, 3 blood pressure meds, 2 neurologic meds, 2 GI meds, and 1 cholesterol med under carnivore. 8 diseases in remission now. What I find interesting, I love how they want to say that these things are in remission rather than saying that we solved the catalyst that was causing my body to scream. And so basically that we don't have these conditions anymore. They're in remission. I get it. If you start eating silliness, they will come back, which is why they want to say it's in remission. But the flip side of the coin is, had we never been tricked by companies to eat garbage, none of these scenarios would ever have been a thing to begin with. So is it remission, or is it that, our body's just healthy now? Anyway, I don't know. These are things that I just wonder about. Working out alone is boring, and I don't do coffee. Yeah, you know what? I don't mind working out alone. The reason I don't mind it is because my workout is not long. So the workout that I started doing, I mean, first of all, jumping on the trampoline on my mini rebounder, like jumping on that, like I can only do that alone. Like if someone's not going to jump with me, so, and although I do have 2 of them, so theoretically someone could jump with me, but like, you know what I mean? Like jumping is not like something that's, and I also do listen to whether it be YouTube videos or podcasts or something while I'm working out. So it's not boring for me. Coffee, believe it or not, I only started drinking coffee when I met Pat because he was such a coffee drinker and kind of got me into it. And then I became such a coffee snob. And now I'm back to not drinking coffee. So that was a 12, 13 year, oh my gosh, is it more than that? How many years diversion that I did into you know, coffee. Um, but my parents were always coffee drinkers, um, and they still are coffee drinkers. But yeah, I don't. Again, our spouses influence us. I can only say that. So, it's normal. Fruits and veggies are the original source of problems, for sure. I could definitely see that they would be the original source of problems. They're like they cause us so much problems because we don't need them, right? They bring in toxins that our bodies are not equipped to manage. Now, again, if we were only doing these things in season when these foods were available to pick ripe off a tree or a bush or whatever, if we were only or vine, if we were only doing it at that point in time, we probably be managing much better. But the problem is we do it all year long, right? So it's not, yeah, it's causing problems. Stephanie says, um, dedicated exercise is good for sculpting and body and building muscle. Initially, you lose weight, but a proper diet is the best way to regulate. I'll be honest with you, Steph. I have worked out for weight loss in my history, never lost a thing. Like it's the story of my life. Um, Changing what I ate, so like during the restrictive eating like of the standard diet, absolutely that worked short term. And then your body just recalculates, which is now I understand from Dr. Fung that your body will recalculate, it will then turn around and keep you stable. And of course, when you stop losing, you either now have the new job of do I keep going down more or do I just give up because the diet didn't work? And oftentimes I would give up because eating like what I was eating and still not getting to my goal, like the question mark now became, why am I doing this? Funny enough, on my healthy way of eating right now, I'm eating more than I think I've ever eaten because I'm having sometimes anywhere from a pound to sometimes even a pound and a half to 2 pounds of meat per day. That depends on whether I have lunch or not. So I'm eating at minimum a pound a day. And then you're adding to that my side dishes, which is either eggs, salmon, calamari, or scallops. And I've been able to create a nice little situation for myself where I'm getting a good amount of iodine from real food. Still supplementing because I don't think I'm eating enough iodine in the real food to not supplement. And I'm also thinking that I'm still trying to figure out how much iodine I actually need to take in. But it's really, really like amazing to me how I can eat more and my weight is not going up. Like, again, if you're looking at the amount of food I'm actually taking in, more than I've ever taken in. So it's kind of it's cool. It's interesting. Um, but I just love the fact that my body is like happy where it is. And like I did lose a little bit of weight, but I think that again that's going back to the caffeine thing, and I'm waiting to see how that's going to play itself out because it only started happening since I took caffeine out. Because I keep tracking, by the way. I've been tracking this entire time since I've been talking to you guys. So 8 years of tracking my weight. I don't do it often. Like it's not like I'm not doing it weekly because like I don't need to. Like I'm pretty sure that I'm staying around the same. But from month to month, I do check. Sometimes it'll go 3 4 months if I have not managed. Like if I didn't change anything in my diet or anything, I won't check as often. But when I change things in my diet, like I have right now with the dairy and then the caffeine, I will do monthly. And it's weird. It's like a small trend down, but I feel like I don't look like sickly, so I'm willing to let it roll a little bit to see what happens. And also, I feel like maybe I will put on muscle, so it might kind of come back up and even back out. So we'll see. But it's super interesting to me that with the amount that I'm eating, my body is losing weight. It doesn't make any damn sense. Doesn't make any sense. Um, y'all are tripping. Okay, interesting. And I say this as a gym rat. Oh, are you a gym rat, Steph? I'm not a gym rat, not at all. But like I am enjoying right now using my little home gym. I even bought a few new like attachments for my big system to try a few different types of exercise. So I feel like it's starting to I'm starting to be more into it. And we'll see how long this lasts. Because I'll tell you, I've joined gyms in the past where I went to the gym like paid memberships for years and I only went like 4 or 5 months and then like would be so sporadic after that. Not worth it. Hello, Cat Cookie. Nice to have you here. Hello, John. Together Strong. Nice to have you here. Let's see. Cheese triggers me too. Yeah, Greek yogurt and sheep's goat milk products do not. Interesting. Keep in mind though, Stephanie, those things are still meant to grow a baby goat. Grow like according to Dr. Eid, is like we need to be really careful with this stuff because the potential that it keeps us on a like a bit of a weight gain something, because that's the purpose of this milk for the animal, is to get that thing to grow as quickly as possible. So just keep it in mind, right? Because sometimes, like I said, under the radar. It was totally under the radar for me. Wow, you're doing live now. Okay. Wow, you're doing live now. So this is half man, half amazing. Yep, I'm live. Okay, seeing it says, I left 6. So I left 6 in weeks, last week's Monday. Okay. Last okay. I did not mention that although we didn't jump yesterday. Okay. I walked 2 miles. You, yes, moving the body now, on my way again. So you left 6 check marks in last Monday's video. So that means you did 6 jumps the week before, right? I did not mention that, although we didn't jump yesterday. Okay. So I walked 2 miles. Okay. So, I mean, it's great to see that you're keeping up with it. And like, I mean, I've been pretty proud of myself that every other morning I'm doing it, because I'm actually waking up thinking about doing it. Like, is today a jump day? Like, I'm actually, again, it blows my mind that this is actually the way I'm waking up and I'm thinking about stuff. Like, even Pat was laughing the other day. He's like, you're like, you're always getting out of bed first thing. Like, you're like, I'm not even hanging around. I was like, yeah, like I want to go jump. But it feels good. And it's weird because it's not like I've never worked out like strenuously before. I'm not even doing strenuous workouts. So when I was younger and I was going to the gym and whatever, because my dad is a big workout guy, he's always worked out. He's always talked about how important it is to work out and like be strong, etc. And my mom does not work out, so he always wanted to make sure that we had the example. Like, you go, you work out. We always had a gym in the house. He's like, use the gym in the house. I was not motivated to use the gym in the house. I needed people around me. It was like I used to be that person, actually, funny enough, that I had to be at the gym so that I could feel motivated, that everybody was doing stuff. When I put the gym in my home, a few years ago, I did it because, like, so it was 8-ish, well, so let's say 7 years ago, because I had gone through my keto thing and we had gone through a summer, right? And like, I did it because I wanted to stay active. But at the same time, I still didn't like working out. I don't know what's different. I can't even put my brain around why does it feel so different this time, but it's lovely. Um, I have I have heard that any major changes can cause hair loss. It come back when things stabilize. Yeah, so basically, yeah, we're talking about the emotionality, right? The Any psychological trigger, but also physical triggers. Like, some people have operations and their body responds with hair loss. And one of the things to keep in mind is that, like, hair is not necessary per se. Like, yes, it keeps our brain warm, and so like it does have a function, but it's not as important as like other internal things. So when my body is trying to prioritize healing other things, like keeping hair going is not necessarily, but also you have the shock factor. Yes, if you're emotionally not doing well, trying to recalibrate that and focus, like, again, it's just our body has interesting ways of reacting and showing us that something is wrong. And yeah, like I wasn't sure that my hair was gonna come back like so well so quickly. Um, I remember when I was telling my hairdresser about what was going on, because it wasn't just that the long hairs were coming out. It was kind of funny. Is like, when the hair would grow back in, it would just fall right back out. Like, I remember like putting my hand through my hair and like having little like broken pieces of hair. So it was like, it wasn't just long strands falling out. New growth was falling out. And I didn't do anything differently. I just kept eating healthy, and eventually the hair kind of grew back in. So she did cut it differently so that it kind of didn't look weird. But I just needed to wait for the hair to grow back in. So it will grow back in, um, if we correct whatever needs to be corrected so that our body can stabilize and allow our body to do what it does, right? So, bride brisket. I drink coffee with cream. That's my only dairy and plant. One gram carb according to label. Tried black, not for me. I won't quit coffee. I learned to accept the struggle. I'll not eat carbs again. So I mean, but and it could be that those casomorphins might be getting you, and that might be why you're struggling a little bit. But as long as you know that that's what's going on and you're okay with it, there's nothing more to talk about. I mean, if you're okay with it, you're okay with it. Then you're going to like you accept the struggle. But I think the thing is keeping in mind like if I keep the casomorphin there, because so I will. Oh, let me back up a second. I won't quit coffee. That statement alone means you will never quit coffee. One of the reasons that I was able to put coffee down is because I didn't have that kind of an idea. I drank coffee because it was a fun something hot to have in the morning. That first time I got hungry, number one. But number two, it allowed me to get a little fat in the morning to keep my weight stable because that was my main goal. I want to keep my weight stable. At the end of the day, though, when I learned about the negatives of coffee plant, like so the toxins and whatever, which I'll go into in the video. Yeah, I wasn't so much worried about letting it go. Like, but I didn't have a rule that said I'm never gonna quit it. So I feel like when we make rules like that for ourselves, we're setting ourselves up, right? You're making rules, right? Like I won't quit coffee. I'm never gonna put down heavy cream, right? Like I can't learn to like black coffee, like all these things that you're telling yourself, which aren't necessarily true. You just made them rules, and so now you're living the rules you've put in your own head. The same thing with I'll not eat carbs again. Yeah, you decided that, so you're not doing it. It's fine, but then you also say I learned to accept the struggle. So, but it's still a struggle. Why not learn to be okay with not eating carbs? And that way it doesn't have to be a struggle. Like we tell ourselves stories and then we live them because that is what we're telling ourselves. Make whatever you're doing feel good to you, right? Like you might very well be able to create a situation where I'm okay with my coffee and my heavy cream and I don't want to eat carbs, so therefore they don't bother me anymore, and then the struggle in your head goes away. But if you keep wording it the way that you're wording it, then you will keep living it the way that you're living it because you're telling yourself that you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do this, you have to, and that's not true. I absolutely felt fine around all kinds of junk food while I was eating, sorry, while I was still drinking coffee with heavy cream because I didn't have a rule that said that I had to not, I couldn't not have it, first of all, but also because I just realized that all the rest of the stuff that I wasn't eating wasn't food. So I wasn't bothered to not eat it. It was no problem. It was easy to do. So that's what I'm trying to point out here is that I'm not telling you to quit coffee if you're not ready to quit coffee and whatever. I'm telling you to think about how you're talking to yourself about the coffee that you're drinking. Because if you were to talk to yourself about it a different way, you'd have a better time with it, right? And it's like I'll give you another kind of example just to make it more concrete. It's like the difference between saying, I have no choice but to spend time with my sister because, but right, and like being all like, oh my, I have to, versus yeah, my sister and I, yeah, we spend time together and like we do fun things and we try to find fun things to do together and whatever. We're family and it's kind of cool. And just that shift in like, I have to versus I find a great way to do that is a huge shift in how we see life, right? And I think a lot of people don't realize that they make things that they're going to do anyway feel bad to themselves, and they're going to do it anyway. So why not let it feel good to yourself then, since you're going to do it anyway? Hope that makes sense. Good afternoon. Oh, I'm glad you guys know each other. That's cool. Okay, cool. Saying it exactly what I was going to say. They are pretty sure that people will go back to the standard American diet and come back to them with issues again. So, yeah, they call it remission. Coffee uh, sold all your equipment. You got fancy. I did not sell my equipment because Pat still drinks coffee. So I still get to make like one or two coffees per week because he still drinks coffee. My daughter still drinks coffee. So sometimes I'll make her a coffee. So it's still fun to make the coffees. And you know what's interesting? Again, like this, just the way that my brain works. Once it's not food for me, I still like the smell of coffee. So like when I make them a coffee or whatever, I can still enjoy the smell because it smells nice. But yeah, I'm just not drinking it anymore. And I actually am happy with like the changes that I've made. Um, and actually, I used to drink like sometimes if we're sitting at the table or watching something on TV and Pat's having a coffee, I'll have like a mug of hot water, um, which surprisingly, I always drink cold water. It's nice to have hot water once in a while. So I learned that in, is it China or Japan that they do that? I can't remember which one, but they do like first thing in the morning, like some hot water. They boil the water and then they let it cool down and they drink it. And I've started doing that, and it's kind of it tastes good, and it's of course I use my filtered water. It tastes good, and I enjoy drinking it. So things change. We make adjustments. Intermission equals healed, but yes, it will all come back if I start carbs again. Spoiler alert, it's not coming back again. That is great to hear, Bride's Biscuit. Good morning from New Zealand. Hello, Julie Brown from Montreal. We are here in Montreal, Canada, Quebec, however you want to say that. And it looks like the last one is from Singing. If you have another question, you probably want to put it in now. Hubby and I are doing a 30-day rebounding challenge. Ooh, nice. He reluctantly gets on, but goes longer and longer every time. Clearly, we have two rebounders. I am pumped. He's getting there. You know, I do have another rebounder, but like I was trying to adjust. Like I put new not springs, but what do you call it on elastics on it. I was putting new elastics on it. We didn't get through the entire process, so there's only one technically that is jumpable. The other one that's too loose. But maybe I'm going to try to get Pat to help me finish putting that other one together properly so we can both jump. That sounds like fun that we might be able to jump together. So that would be really cool. And it looks like we are at the end of our comments. So, Wellness Warrior, thank you very much for joining me in today's video. Really appreciated you coming by and spending the time with me. Check out Silencing the Food Noise. That's linked below in the description. And I will talk to you next week, Monday, 11:20. Prioritize health, Wellness Warrior. Prioritize eating real food. We can do this. I'll talk to you next time. Oh, and by the way, you can get t-shirts if you want to support the channel, as well as there are links in the description if you want to help support the channel. It really does help us when people, help us out. So talk to you guys next Monday. Today's video is brought to you by my keto consultations. You know how to do keto, but you're having trouble just sticking with it? Book a consultation with me and we're going to get you back on track. The link is in the description.